Welcome back. 412-575-2600 is the number on the Bordas and Bordas hotline. Also taking your tweets at Josh Taylor HD. We start on Twitter with Robert, who asks, do you think the Penguins are a sub-500 team this year? Do you mean after the season is over? If that's the case, then no. I don't think they're done. I don't think they're finished product. It's November. I said this routinely. It seems like every night. I still think there's more moves to come. I think the fact that they don't have Justin Schultz means they're probably going to trade for a defenseman to at least try to hold them over and maybe even make that defense better when he comes back. They're going to need to make a move for that. I think there's going to be a little bit of a shakeup as far as the guys up front. There's got to be a forward or two brought in or a couple shopped out. I thought Carl Hagelin was just the beginning. There's going to be more guys brought in to strengthen that particular 12 up front as well. So there's going to be some moves made, and I think when it's all said and done, you're going to see a better hockey team. Jim Rutherford has been doing this for a while. I think the Jack Johnson move is one of those ones that hangs over his head. That's the elephant in the room right now with this team. But you can make the argument the Daniel Sprong situation. I think a lot of people want to see him more. You get the feeling does Mike Sullivan really like him as his kind of guy? There's that whole thing kind of hanging around as well. So I imagine once they get the roster situated and they get more of a team that's more suited to what they're trying to do, I think they'll be better off, and I trust Jim Rutherford will do that. And if he doesn't, then call me and we'll talk about it here. Let's go to Al in the West End. Al, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hey, Josh, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Before I make my pit point, the four teams that should be in the playoffs,
okay,
in this order, Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, and UCF. Those are the four teams that should, because college football is the only sport in the country that the four teams with the four best records do not make the playoffs. Any other sport in this country has the four best teams with the four best records. Now, getting on to Pitt.
All right.
What to expect from Pitt next year? I'm being realistic. Another conference division championship and lose to Clemson. Because Pitt's problem is simple. They don't have the athletes at the skill positions and also don't have the experience. When they got to within 14-10, the defense didn't have a shutdown inning or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
the defense let them go down and score in 5 plays.
Right.
Before halftime, the quarterback threw a ridiculous pass.
Yeah.
He's only a sophomore.
Yes.
So fans need to be realistic. They have to get more talented players at the skill position. They need to stop making mental mistakes, and they need to get better skill position. So if Pitt wins another division and gets back to the ACC championship, then I won't say satisfied, but that's what I think you should expect from Pitt next year. I think it was a great season. Nardizzi made a prediction, and he kept it. So Pitt should be the same next year. Thanks, Josh.
Thanks for the call. That was really well detailed. I'm impressed. You know what? It's hard to argue with any of that. And I would think that's a reasonable expectation, too, is to win the division again and go to the ACC championship again next season. Here's one thing I will say that I expect to be different. I expect this division to be a lot tougher next year. I think the fact that Virginia Tech and Miami were both down in the same season is an anomaly. Those are usually the two best teams in your division. So I expect them to bounce back and be better next season. Here's the one thing I will give you. When you talk about your four, I'm glad someone made a case for UCF because they were down on Memphis earlier in the day. I think they were down 2 or 3 touchdowns. Everybody's like, see, UCF is playing against terrible competition. They can't beat them. Came back and won that game by 2 touchdowns without their starting quarterback, who had a really, really ugly, terrible leg injury. It's hard to count UCF out right now. Now, here's the reality of it all. They're not going to put UCF in because they don't have Mackenzie Milton. That's why, because they take injuries into account. Do I think it's fair? No. I think the fact that UCF continues to just roll through. Now, some will argue they're playing in the American, don't have great competition. Okay, fine. But you had Washington State playing in the Pac-12, and the Pac-12's had a pretty down year. And if they beat Washington, they're probably playing for the Pac-12 championship and a shot to get in the playoff, too. Does that count against Washington State? Or do you like Washington State because they have Mike Leach? I know I do. I like Washington State because they have Mike Leach because I think Mike Leach is interesting. So when you're talking about the UCF argument, I think UCF should be considered. Are they going to be put in? No, and that's kind of the unfairness of it all. You bring up a great point. You can have an undefeated season, win a conference championship, and not get in, which I think is kind of ridiculous. So, yeah, we agree on that. Let's go to Steve in Johnstown. Steve, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Yes, Josh. I just want to ask you, make a comment about this, the past last weekend with Ben Roethlisberger.
In the game, you mean?
Yes, last week's game. Where's the common sense with his coaching? Why are you throwing that ball on the 2-yard line. Didn't they learn their lesson from the Seattle Super Bowl? Common sense. Why are you throwing the ball on a 2-yard line? It just don't make any sense. I mean, Dan Quinn did the same thing in the Super Bowl. Instead of running the clock out, he's throwing the ball with a big lead. Next thing you know, they lose the game. I mean, everybody sees it but these coaches. I don't know where the common sense is. What do you think about that?
Well, first off, they tried to run and it failed. I don't know if you saw that part. They ran with James Conner. He got swallowed up. So the run didn't work. So it comes down to, if you don't want to run it, and you don't want to necessarily draw a drawn-up pass play, after the game, Ben Roethlisberger said it was an RPO. So run-pass option. And honestly, it was poorly executed from the word go. Ben didn't handle the snap properly. James Conner came up a little bit too soon. Ben couldn't sell the play fake because they were both out of sync. And then by the time he goes to throw it, AB's not in the spot where he was trying to throw it, and he throws it right to an lineman. That entire play in his execution did not work. So if you're blaming the play call, I can't go there. I'm looking more at the execution of the play call. More importantly, and this is a really important thing, if Vance McDonald catches a pass that was thrown to him in the end zone in the third quarter, we're probably not having this discussion. If James Washington catches a pass that he didn't need to leave his feet to try to dive and get, if he just catches it in stride, there's no one in the zip code around him and he scores a touchdown, we're not having this discussion. It shouldn't have even gotten to that point. I said this after the game when I was doing post-game on 93.7 The Fan. The Steelers literally dropped this game, figuratively and literally. They had so many opportunities that they just did not handle properly. It shouldn't have even come down to that play in the fourth quarter. If you want to argue over the play call, fine. If you're going to go RPO with the game on the line, I'm not going to argue with it. I'm one of those people that likes innovation in football. I've actually been paying attention to a lot of the trends that are going on around the league. If you think this is the only team doing it, you're not watching enough football and you need to watch more. I'll say that much. I don't put that all on the coaching staff. The way the players executed that play was terrible, and the way the players executed for 4 quarters in the red zone alone was terrible. When one of your only red zone touchdown is technically on the special teams play, I'm not putting that on your coaches. I'm putting that on your players in the execution. Let's go to Big Al and Robinson. Big Al, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
What's up? Listen, buddy, this is my 60th year watching Pitt. I was 14 when I first went.
Okay.
I'm so disgusted with this Narduzzi. You guys think he's such a great guy. He's so happy to be 7-6, 7-7. What human being? I played the game in referee. What person with 40 or 50 seconds left in the right mind would throw 2 passes? The announcer, Herb Kirkstreet, almost went through the floor. He said, you kneel down, run a ball, go into halftime. What is wrong with this guy's brain? If you think that's good coaching, then you know less football than I do. That's totally ridiculous.
Did I say I was good coaching?
In the first series of the game, 3 legal procedures. They weren't prepared, and they played well. I'm not saying they're a better team than Clem, no question about it. And he has this picky kid hogging the ball, running all over the court. He fumbled. We gave him 7 points, and we gave him another 7. We handed him 14 points. If you people in Pittsburgh, that's why there's only 20, 30,000 people at the game. He'll never outdraw. He'll never out-recruit West Virginia or Penn State or Notre Dame. He don't have it. 7-6. You happy with that 7-7? I had 30 years tickets. I give him away. He's disgusting. If you think that was a good call, please tell me you didn't do that.
Here's a question. If you've been buying tickets for that long, why are you disgusted now after they won a division championship? They made it to the conference championship game. They hadn't done that since joining the ACC. You're disgusted now? You saw what happened the past couple of years, right? They haven't beaten North Carolina his entire tenure. North Carolina just fired their coach. And North Carolina was cheating 3 years ago. And they were still terrible, and they couldn't beat North Carolina. This is the thing that disgusts you? Kind of a weird set of reasoning. However, I will give you one thing. If I'm looking at something with coaching problems, I'm looking at Sean Watson's game planning because I'm not a fan of it right now. Not a fan of it. I said this morning on 93.7 The Fan. If Pitt had a shot to win this game, Sean Watson had to do his best Matt Canada impersonation. You know what they beat Clemson 2 years ago? Because of Matt Canada and his game plan. This looks nothing like that, and it's showing, and it's not working. If you want to really boil it down, that's where I'll start. Got to take a break. We'll take more phone calls when we come back. Stick around.